SUVs now capture 58% of all new vehicle sales in the United States. And in just the first quarter of 2025, Americans bought 3.91 million new cars, a 4.8% increase year over year. But here's the shocker. The SUV dominating that wave isn't a Tesla, not a BMW, not even a Mercedes. When the sales data dropped, German executives reportedly called emergency meetings. Stay tuned, because once you see what's sitting at number one, you'll understand why the entire car industry is in panic mode. Luxury brands like BMW and Mercedes are feeling that shift. For years, they sold status. But in 2025, status isn't selling. Sense is. Americans aren't chasing badges anymore. They're chasing practicality, reliability, and affordability. The cars that win now are the ones that do their job without breaking the bank. Now, before we reveal the $17,000 SUV that's turning the industry upside down, let's talk about the cars that were supposed to dominate 2025, but didn't. These were the big names, the headline makers, the ones everyone expected to crush the competition. But somewhere between rising prices, changing priorities, and plain old bad timing, they missed the mark. Let's start at number 10, the Tesla Model Y. Once the poster child of American innovation, it's now becoming a victim of its own success. When it launched, it redefined what people thought an electric SUV could be: sleek, fast, and futuristic. It was the symbol of progress, the dream car for a new generation. But in 2025, the dream is showing cracks. Sales are down nearly 18% year over year, even after Tesla aggressively slashed prices and increased production. It's not that the Model Y suddenly became bad, it's that the market moved on. People who wanted one already have it, and those who don't are thinking twice. Tesla still dominates headlines and social media, but hype doesn't pay the bills. On the sales charts, it's slowing fast. The Model Y remains a good car. It's just stuck in the wrong moment in history, caught between ambition and affordability. At number 9, we have the Hyundai Kona, stylish, compact, and packed with tech. It's got the personality of a city crossover, sharp lines, bright colors, and that futuristic dashboard layout everyone once raved about. But somewhere along the way, Hyundai forgot one very important thing: its audience. When the Kona first hit the market, it stood for smart value, a fun little SUV that gave you premium feel without the premium cost. It was the car young professionals and first-time buyers could actually afford. But now, in 2025, that same Kona starts at almost $30,000. In a time when inflation is squeezing wallets and interest rates are up, the Kona's jump in price made buyers hesitate. Hyundai made it more stylish, more connected, and more advanced, but also more expensive than its segment could handle. The Kona didn't fail because it's bad. It failed because it forgot who it was for. At number 8, we've got the Jeep Compass, a car that once stood for rugged freedom and weekend adventure. It wore the Jeep badge proudly, promising off-road confidence in a small, affordable package. But somewhere between the marketing and the manufacturing, the Compass lost its direction, and now it's struggling to find its place in a crowded SUV market. Fuel economy? Meh. Price? Painful. Personality? Hard to find. The Compass was supposed to be the bridge between urban practicality and outdoor excitement, but it ended up stuck in the middle. Not bold enough for off-road fans, not efficient enough for city drivers. Jeep tried to modernize it, new tech, digital displays, refreshed interiors, but buyers didn't bite. The problem wasn't how it looked, it was what it delivered. People don't want rugged looks with rental car engines. They want something that works every single day without drama. Next up, we have the Ford Escape, a car that's been around long enough to earn trust, yet somehow lost touch with what made it appealing in the first place. The Escape was once the definition of practical, simple to drive, easy to maintain, and perfectly balanced between comfort and capability. But in 2025, Ford tried to reinvent it, loading it with digital dashboards, voice commands, and hybrid tech meant to signal progress. Here's the issue: not everyone wants a touchscreen that controls their life. Tech fatigue is real. Americans are tired of software updates in their cars, tired of features that look cool but complicate the basics, like adjusting the AC or tuning the radio. The Escape's problem isn't performance, it's personality. In its chase to feel modern, it forgot how to feel human. Sales slipped because the average buyer doesn't want to escape into a user manual. They want to hop in, drive, and trust the machine. It's ironic, a car named Escape got trapped in its own tech ambitions. You'd think the king of reliability would be untouchable, but even legends can price themselves out of reach. At number 6 sits the Toyota RAV4, a name almost every American household recognizes. It's the SUV that built its reputation on trust, the car you could hand down to your kids and still get another 100,000 miles out of. But here's the problem: reliability has gotten expensive. In 2015, a RAV4 started at around $25,000. Fast forward to 2025, and that same SUV is pushing $38,000 before taxes or dealer fees. That's not progress, that's inflation on wheels. People still love the RAV4, it's a symbol of trust, but love doesn't always survive a higher payment. At nearly $40,000, reliability alone isn't enough to win hearts anymore. At number 5, meet the Honda CR-V, the SUV that's been quietly winning America's trust for over 2 decades. It's the one your neighbor drives, your parents recommend, and your mechanic secretly respects. But here's the twist: in 2025, that rock-solid reputation isn't enough to keep it on top. Dependability still matters, but excitement sells, and the CR-V has never been the life of the party. The CR-V is like that reliable friend who always shows up on time, loyal, predictable, and never thrilling. It's a great SUV, just not an inspiring one. In a year when Americans are demanding both value and character, dependable doesn't make headlines anymore. Buyers want a little personality, something that feels fresh, not familiar. Sales are still steady, but the curve is bending downward. The CR-V hasn't failed, it's just fading into the background of a crowded SUV scene that's moving faster than it ever has. The CR-V still gets you there. It just doesn't make you feel anything along the way. They call it entry luxury. But when the entry fee is $43,000, you start wondering if you've walked into the wrong party. The BMW X1, sleek, confident, and proudly German, was supposed to make premium driving more accessible. Instead, it's become a reminder that even status has a price tag too steep for most Americans. Sure, it's beautifully built. The doors close with that signature thunk. The leather smells expensive, and the badge still turns heads in parking lots. But today, the badge doesn't buy as much admiration as it used to. When your car payment is competing with your rent, the shine starts to fade fast. Luxury fatigue is real. Americans are tired of paying extra just to be seen. They're realizing that confidence doesn't come from chrome, it comes from common sense. The X1 is still a fine machine, smooth, elegant, and engineered to perfection. But here's the truth: perfection doesn't pay the bills. People no longer want to prove they've made it. They just want to make it to payday. It used to be the quiet hero of the suburbs, the Nissan Rogue, the go-to family SUV that did everything just fine. But in 2025, just fine doesn't sell anymore. The market has split in two: affordable or premium. And the Rogue, stuck right in the middle, is watching both sides drive away. Here's the problem: the Rogue didn't evolve fast enough. It's no longer the value choice, and it's not luxurious enough to feel special. Starting around $33,000, it's priced awkwardly. Too expensive for budget buyers, too plain for premium ones. Reliability? Sure. Efficiency? Decent. Excitement? None. The Rogue didn't fail because it's bad. It failed because it's forgettable. And in 2025, forgettable is fatal. Once upon a time, the Toyota Corolla Cross looked unstoppable. The perfect mix of Toyota's famous reliability and crossover practicality. It was the sensible choice for anyone who wanted peace of mind without breaking the bank. But here's the catch: in 2025, even sensible is starting to feel expensive. The Corolla Cross nearly took the crown this year. It's everything Americans say they want: simple, efficient, familiar. The kind of car you buy, drive for 10 years, and forget about because it never lets you down. That used to be enough, but not anymore. At just over $26,000, the Corolla Cross has quietly drifted out of the budget-friendly zone. It's not Toyota's fault, it's the economy's. Inflation, higher production costs, and thinner incentives mean even reliable brands are feeling the squeeze. And when they do the math, the decision gets real simple. Why pay more for average when you can pay less for smart? While everyone chased luxury, one brand quietly built something Americans actually needed. And that's when the market flipped. And now, here it is, the name that nobody expected to top the charts. It's not a Tesla, it's not a BMW, it's not even a luxury brand. The real winner of 2025 is the Chevy Trax, the $17,000 SUV that just destroyed every premium sales forecast in America. While BMW and Mercedes were fighting over a shrinking luxury market, Chevy quietly sold over 250,000 units in just 9 months. No bold claims, no futuristic promises, just a car that makes sense. It's not trying to be flashy, it's trying to be affordable. It doesn't brag about horsepower or touchscreen size. It talks about value, efficiency, and reliability. While luxury brands sell status, the Trax sells sanity. And that's exactly what Americans are buying in 2025, a break from financial madness. While luxury brands are fighting over a shrinking premium market, Chevy quietly sold over 250,000 units in just 9 months. That's more than most German luxury models combined. No one saw it coming. Not the analysts, not the automakers, not even Chevy itself. The Trax didn't win with flashy tech or a long list of expensive upgrades. It won with something rare in today's auto market: common sense. It's simple, affordable, and built for real life. No overcomplicated screens, no unnecessary gimmicks, just a car that does its job and does it well. While BMW sells status, the Trax sells sanity. It's the SUV for people who don't care about impressing anyone. They just want something that works, something they can rely on every single day. And that message hit home with millions of Americans. In a year where car prices soared and financing rates climbed, the Trax became a quiet hero. Starting around $17,000, it offers what most cars don't anymore: value that feels real. People saw the price, saw the quality, and realized they didn't need to stretch their budget just to get a dependable car. So, how did a $17,000 SUV pull off what billion-dollar brands couldn't? The answer isn't complicated. In fact, that's exactly why it worked. The Chevy Trax won because it focused on what really matters to people: affordable ownership, smart design, and everyday practicality. Let's start with affordability. The Trax entered the market when car prices were out of control. The average new car in America now costs over $45,000. Most families simply can't handle that. Chevy knew this, and instead of chasing the premium trend, they went the other way. They built something that normal people could actually buy and keep. Fuel economy played a big part too. The Trax doesn't need a giant engine to make a statement. It runs on efficiency, delivering strong mileage that saves owners hundreds every year. While others brag about horsepower, Chevy bragged about how far you could go on a single tank. In 2025, that's what wins hearts and wallets. Next comes design. Not fancy, not flashy, but smart. Every inch of the Trax serves a purpose. The interior layout is clean, simple, and intuitive. Everything you need is easy to reach. No touchscreens buried in endless menus, no confusing features that require a tutorial. Chevy gave drivers buttons, knobs, and clear displays, things that just work. While some automakers stuffed their cars with complicated tech, Chevy went back to basics. No over-engineering, no unnecessary sensors or fancy voice systems that misunderstand you. The Trax doesn't pretend to be a spaceship. It's a car, and that honesty feels refreshing. But perhaps the biggest factor of all was timing. The Trax arrived when Americans needed it most. Inflation was biting, interest rates were rising, and consumers were tired of paying luxury prices for average experiences. Chevy stepped in with an SUV that didn't just look good, it made sense. The timing couldn't have been better. In the end, Chevy didn't reinvent the wheel. They just remembered why people buy cars in the first place. Simple, smart, and affordable, that's what America wanted. And the Trax delivered it perfectly. The 2025 sales chart isn't just data, it's a wake-up call. The $17,000 SUV crushing BMW and Mercedes proves one thing: practicality wins over prestige. And that truth is shaking boardrooms from Detroit to Munich. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe, like, and share this with a friend. This is Room Diagnosis. Thanks for watching, and drive smart.